Hallo, meine Freunde! It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from the Metal Epidemic with the brand new album review.
So racist. Like, I just want to stress to the listeners out there, this was Dave's idea to do that accent. I had nothing to do with that.
I don't know how long I can keep that up.
Let's not do that.
Let's not.
Until I do this, so oofed.
Yeah.
Oofed, yeah.
For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out, if you hadn't guessed, the new album from German Electronicore band Electric Callboy. The band's new album, Tanzneid, will be released on August 7th via Century Media and Sony Records. Electric Callboy are nearly impossible to categorise, and that's exactly the point. Since forming in Germany in 2010, they've grown into a global force, driven by genre-defying hits like Hyper Hyper, We Got the Moves, and Ratatatat, featuring BABYMETAL. Their 2022 album, Techno, amassed hundreds of millions of streams worldwide, cementing their place at the forefront of modern heavy music. With Tanzneid, the band pushed their sound even further, sharpening their signature mix of pop hooks, techno energy, and heavy breakdowns. Written in between relentless touring across backstage areas, buses, and brief studio sessions, the album carries a raw sense of urgency, capturing the band at their most instinct-driven and immediate. Built on contrast, Electric Callboy's strength lies in blending extremes into something that feels seamless. On Tanzneid, the balance reaches a new level of precision, pairing high-impact energy with a more refined approach to songwriting and dynamics. After album Techno and all the worldwide touring, Tanzneid took everything out of us. It was intense, exhausting, but also exactly what we needed after all the incredible moments we shared during that era. With Tanzneid, we wanted to create something special for our fans and for ourselves. Every track surges with energy. We took what we loved about techno and pushed it further, adding new elements, new sounds, and new extremes. Heavy beats, explosive drops, and moments that hit you right in the chest. The last singles, Ratatatat and Hypercharged, were just the beginning. Now it's raw, loud, and alive, in every pulse, every scream, every melody. We wanted to match our music with your adrenaline to create a record that pulls you onto the floor, makes your heart race, and doesn't let go. Tanzneid is built for the stage, so turn it up, lose yourself, and dance like no one is watching. And the album was produced by the band, mixed by Daniel the guitarist, then mastered by Krzysztof Wojciech. Wojciech, maybe, I don't know. Who I believe is he's the guy from Annisokay, the guitarist. He did the mastering, but I think it's Wojciech. I don't know. Unsure on pronunciation on that one. What's new? Okay, Duncan.
I was giggling a little bit when you were reading out there that there may be someone that accidentally stumbles onto this as a very first Metal Epidemic review. And I can't imagine any scenario where any person would want to check out anything else after this, except to show their friends the ridiculousness of what we are currently like.
Exactly, Duncan, exactly. But we do not give a fuck. Zero fucks are given at this point.
No.
You're 6 years in, Duncan. Fucking, who gives a fuck? So, Tanzneid, Duncan, at this point, obviously, with the number of singles released so far, you've probably heard most of the album, to be fair.
Yeah, this is so... minor gripe out the way at the beginning.
Oh.
I don't like the release strategy on this, right? I get some of it, because where you have a collaboration with BABYMETAL, and BABYMETAL's album came out last year, it's inevitable that track is going to be on there. I kind of cast my mind back to the previous Poppy album, like the one which I think was this year, or very late last year. I think it was this year. And she had the same thing. She had the collab song with BABYMETAL on that, when that album once again had been... So that song had been around for... like 6-7 months at that point. At this point, we are like about a year since.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, tracks like that, I get it's already in the domain, so it kind of has to be there. And maybe there's been one or two of those which have forced that. I don't understand, and it's a personal dislike of mine that you swing into album release date and already half the album is out.
Yeah.
Especially with a band like Electric Callboy, where, from a genre perspective, they have a sound, right? There are tricks here throughout the album, we'll get to those, but it's not as if like the individual tracks have been released like that. I wonder how it'll sit contextually on the album. I know how it's going to sit contextually on the album.
Yeah.
All you've done is you've released half your album in advance of me checking it out, which if anything maybe diminishes my interest, which is why, and I always stress this, I'm going to come back to Dave, my recent thing the last couple of years is I dip a toe in now. Like I will check out a release single, usually the first one that's in hymns for a band, and unless I'm like, I don't get it, I need more context, I'm usually like, cool, we'll wait till the album, and I do fuck all till the album comes out. So
Yeah.
In the case of this one, I didn't really listen to anything beyond the track with BABYMETAL, and even then it was for a different album. So
Yeah, I'd listened to a couple, but and normally I'd be kind of against like a band releasing 8 singles from an album before its release. Like not
8
taking
singles
the,
from an album where the album is 14 tracks, 4 of which are
remixes. Yeah. So basically 80% of the album is pretty much out really without the remixes.
Yes.
However, I kind of feel like Electric Callboy are one of the few bands that kind of could get away with it. Like I feel like this is a band that are predominantly a singles band. Like they aren't really a band that write albums with like a take me on a journey kind of type vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are written, as I said in the press release, they're written built for the live stage. Party anthems that make you want to move. So I kind of feel like, yeah, any other band, I don't know if they'd have got away with this. I'd been like, that's not cool. But I think they maybe pull it off, personally.
80% is a lot.
It is.
Like I'm trying to think that the albums that the only album I can think of in modern times, that Gojira album, that last Gojira album had like 5 singles out, which I check a review. I think I moaned about that there, but I always go back to The Darkness.
Oh yeah.
But then with The Darkness, they'd released I think like 1 or 2 singles before the album came out, and then it was like 3 singles after the album came out. When you have released 80% of the album before the album's come out, are you releasing the final 2 tracks as singles post-album release? Or if that's the case, do we have an entire album of singles? Isn't that what they call a greatest hits?
It's in my notes, Duncan. It's exactly what I wrote in my notes.
You know what? I will shut the fuck up right now before I piss all over your notes from a great height.
Yeah, I mean, my only main gripe was the fact that Rat-tat-tat was on the album. That was the one thing I was like, it was released almost 2 years ago. Like this is, and like I understand it from a
we
record.
just reviewed the Loathe album last week, and there's like a single on that from comparably about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but this is also a track that's featured on another band's album already as well. Like
yeah.
I mean, I understand it from a record label perspective. Yeah. Like this is one of your biggest tracks. Let's rake in a bit more money. But it does also feel like I feel like the moment is now past.
The moment
track.
has passed. We're not in that zone anymore. Like the so much so that all the footage of them doing like festivals and playing it jointly on stage has kind of passed as well. So it does feel like, weirdly, one of my mental notes, because I don't diligently write my notes like you, Dave. One of my mental notes is maybe in the context of the album, one of the less impressive singles now. Because it's been around so long. It's not to say it's not a great track. It's a fucking great song. Yeah. But it's kind of weirdly overshadowed by all the stuff I hadn't heard, which sounded much more exciting than you.
Yeah, yeah. I'd agree with that. I think, like, what I'd say about this album is 100% like a vibe album. This is...
Holy shit, yeah.
And I feel like you do also have to be in a frame of mind for it.
You need to have like a couple of shots in.
Yes, 100%.
You know what I mean? A couple of shots in. Feeling a wee bit loosey-goosey, we wink at your neighbour.
Yeah. If you're not in that party mood, this is going to feel like, you know, you're being beaten to death with a giant disco ball. It's like... And honestly, if I'm purely being completely honest right now, my first listen to this, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't think I'm ready. I was
this when you were on holiday? Because like it sounds like as much as you had fun being away, it does sound like all fun was gone on that holiday, because you were moaning last week about like, album lengths.
I was actually back. I was back at work, so maybe that's what it was. But I was not mentally prepared for all the caffeinated energy of this album. So I was like 3 or 4 tracks, and I was like, hit pause. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to come back to this because it's not fair for me to listen to this right now, and I'm not in the frame of mind for it. And then a couple of days later, I jumped back into it, and I felt like I was more like primed for it. And I felt like the second listen to the album went much better. Granted, I'd heard like a handful of the singles already, but I don't know if it was just like it was a Friday afternoon. I was finishing work early.
It's the perfect time to play the album, Dave.
Mood was right, Duncan.
Yeah.
And like listening to Tanzneid was just like the equivalent of like chugging 3 cans of Monster. I'm like flipping your boss off on the way out the door. Like it just like kind of powered me through the last part of my working day. And it is one of those albums that like when you're ready for it, it does just kind of like raise the endorphins and like puts a smile on your face. Like,
yeah.
And for the full album, you're pretty much just, set to that kind of headspace, and you're in this kind of like back and forth between these like kind of metalcore kind of haymakers. You've got that like Euro dance kind of energy, the fucking the bejazzled pop hooks, and just like zero fucking fucks for nuance on this album. Like it's very, very self-aware, like very much like Techno was, to be honest. And to be honest, like when I was listening, I was thinking it definitely had like a similar kind of framework to that previous album. With that, it comes out the gate, a couple of really big bangers to get the album started. Maybe drop in something a little bit more melodic, and then they'll start to kind of, place in some guests here and there just to break it up. But it just, the momentum is continually going with the album. And we get a little taste of something new eventually on track 6, which is Heart Club.
Yes.
Which was one of the few tracks not released from this. I'm not going to go track by track on the stuff you've already heard. And that was quite an interesting one. It's definitely got a bit of a almost kind of deathcore kind of character about it. It's pretty heavy, but it's still infused with the usual kind of like Callboy, Electronicore, and the big bombastic synths, and almost like kind of like 80s kind of banger chorus to it as well. It's another track that when I heard that I was like, okay, yeah, that's also going to work as another live track. It's just going to, it's going to go off. And then when I got to track 7,
track 7 is that like it really is the one where like if you think the gimmick of the band is like camp Euro 80s meets like they've jumped forward a decade.
Yes, they did. I mean? Yeah.
But then when we saw them live, they did cover the Backstreet Boys, which totally makes fucking sense. That a track like this, because it was just to stress their cover of the Backstreet Boys was fucking shit hot. Really good. So it kind of makes sense that, and I wonder if there's a world where there is an Electric Callboy album in the future which jumps a decade, and that kind of big 90s boy band energy, of which there's plenty to mine from. Suddenly, I would kind of had it. Look, there's other bands that do it, like to an extent, like A Day to Remember, kind of do that kind of 90s element. And that's kind of what makes Electric Callboy stand out, that Euro 80s thing. But they're really fucking good at it. Really good at it.
I'd never heard this thing, and this was obviously one of the last singles they released.
This is the one that has the fake Backstreet Boys video, which
I've
not watched.
I've never seen it,
but I did see a still from it, and I was like, "Oh, right, I get it."
Yeah. So I hadn't heard this track, so when it kicked in, I was like, all right, what? This is like a fucking late 90s, early 2000s Backstreet Boys type like pop track. And part of me did think like they're going to ride this out right to the end of the track.
Oh no.
As a bit of a like mid-breather like album, like mid-breather album track. But about like a minute in, there's just this like wave of like fucking blast beats come ripping in.
Dude. Yeah.
They swerve into these big metalcore breakdowns, and there's even like the kind of like bleh kind of vocals.
There is
like
bleh
I was like, what the fuck? But they also do the best thing ever by switching back to the pop track.
Yeah, like they go a cappella almost. And I was just so fucking. It's so consciously aware of what it's doing.
Yeah,
it's such a smart move.
It's like it shouldn't work, but like it's so fucking good. But somehow like they managed to like stitch all these different kind of styles together. There's so much they throw into this album stylistically,
including a cover, which
and it shouldn't be like styles that shouldn't blend as well as they do here. But they've now gotten to a point in their career where that kind of experience as songwriters is just so like on the money. Like the way they transition those code switches on the album. And I went back and I listened to some of the really early stuff. We Are the Mess I listened to, and The Scene was the other album I listened to. But like the level they are operating at now, like is just so, it's like night and day.
Yeah, I think the conscious split that they had, which obviously formed Ghøstkid and Electric Callboy, it makes you wonder how much of that previous setup was restricting some of this creativity.
True. Yeah,
because a lot of the kind of rougher, slightly darker edges are completely gone now. And I would argue for the better. Like, if you are going to commit to this sound and not do it as parody, which that's the cool thing about you, like a band like Steel Panther, for example, are doing 80s cock rock, right? But they're ultimately doing it as parody. They just happen to be great musicians. Electric Callboy, for all the gimmick, is an obvious gimmick. I never listened to them as a parody band. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
I think it's because there are a lot of kind of power metal bands that incorporate that kind of Europop aesthetic. So Electric Callboy's kind of co-opting of that into their sound actually really makes sense to me. Unless the only thing that is really parody is the music video. Like you get, and I've said this before, especially about this band, if you can sing like these guys can sing.
Yeah. Great voices.
Why would you not? Like you have to have that all over this. But if you can scream and do the breakdown stuff that they can do as well, once again, why would you not? So
yeah. Also, just wanted to mention that they now have Frank Zumo of ex Sum 41 now as the drummer and the full-time drummer in the band.
Yes, which obviously makes sense when you.
Yeah, I mean his contribution to Electric Callboy was a little bit surprising for me actually, because he is known for more like hard rock and kind of punk stuff, but he slots seamlessly into this. Like, and I've seen a couple of live videos and he does very well. But the little
Sum 41 were always a pop punk band, but they were always like very clear on their like metal roots. Were all into fucking like
thrash and yeah.
Which the reason I keep alluding to it is like track 8 is a cover of a Sum 41 song. So,
oh, is it?
Yeah, Still Waiting is a Sum 41 song.
Right. Okay.
Which is why I'm saying like that to me was the least surprising cover. At the same time, it's a surprising cover, but the least surprising cover like I could think of. Like just to stress, Dave. Look at Dave. Does Dave with his Hulk Hogan moustache? Does he look like a Sum 41 fan? No.
I mean, I like the singles, but I wouldn't say.
Yeah, it was on one of the later albums, I think.
Right. Okay.
Like trying to.
Weirdly, like when I heard it, I did feel like there's a bit of a Sum 41 thing going on in that chorus.
There you go. Well, that's why. So yeah, it's a Sum 41 cover.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I thought his performance this was great. Like the little blast beats, his double kicks are really solid on the album as well. Very tight drummer. But yeah, like as an album, you kind of said it earlier, it does feel like a bit of a kind of greatest hits, where every track does feel like it could be a single. Even the other unreleased track, The Savior, it has a bit of a kind of like hyper meets kind of like Got the Moves, that kind of type of energy. So it never really lets up as an album at all. As I've said, these songs are built to play live, which is where the band kind of shine. We saw them 2-3 years ago.
So good live, like
Glasgow
effortlessly good live.
Yeah.
It was actually ridiculous how good they were live.
Yeah,
like across the board. So.
They put on some show that night. Any negatives of the album? I would say, I suppose it's a kind of double-sided thing. It's very produced, this album, but that is also their sound. So if you're looking for like nuanced and warm and rich production tones, then this is maybe not it. This is like hyper polished, like sparkly enough to cause like retinal damage, which like isn't like my favorite type of production usually. I do can prefer things a little bit more organic, but I realize this style and the instrumentation they're using on the album maybe wouldn't sound best with that type of production.
100%,
I think it has to be more meticulous and polished like this. Drums, I think the drums were there's moments on the album where I feel the drums are a little bit flat, but I noticed it was when they bring in something of the more kind of like the EDM or kind of techno kind of drums they bring in, when they come out and the natural drums come in, I feel it's a little bit lackluster sometimes. That was a couple of moments I was like, oh, drums could be a little bit more punchy when they came back in.
Difficult to marry those two, because it's true. Like drums designed for two completely different reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Remixes are fine.
Let's get rid of like a remix on the end of an album. I can tolerate 4 remixes on the end of an album. Like,
it's kind of like they've just been like stripped of the metal parts and replaced by like fucking Skrillex or something. You know what I mean? It's. I imagine these would work really well in like a nightclub. But not necessarily something I would listen to at home.
Well, you take those remixes out, the album's runtime is just around the 30-minute mark.
Perfect, yeah.
So, which is the perfect length for this album. I don't really need the remixes on the end. I can't imagine anyone's going that. I can't wait to get to the remix of fucking Hypercharged.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I can imagine them being playing in some club somewhere, but they wouldn't necessarily bump the score up for me, to be honest. Not quite my tempo. Anything else you want to add to this? Any positives or negatives you want to throw in?
The big positive to me is this is the... If you take... Like, Techno is a great album. This, to me, is the band leveling up. I think this is the one where I feel they feel most comfortable in their sound. Like, the marriage of everything just works. The small gripes I have, like the track that is least whelming or the most underwhelming on the album is the BABYMETAL track. Yeah. Which the only reason behind that is because I fucking played it to death last year.
True.
I love that song. I think it's fucking great. But because I've heard it so many times, even if it's like one of my emotes on fucking Fortnite, that's how bad it is. You know, like it's been done to death for me. That as a result, it's saving grace as it comes so early in the album, so you get like you can zip right through it. Everything beyond that is really, 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 really good. I think they could have slummed this album.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They could have done the bare minimum. They could have slummed it and really went out and like toured again, because this band is making huge waves live, but like they're designed for festivals. Like it's like the perfect festival band.
Yeah.
But they have actually put like a lot of craft and a lot of attention in this. So as it stands, I think this is their best album. They're never going to be a 5-star album for me, so you don't have to worry about that when we come to school. Just because I know their sound, and I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where they're going to throw like such a huge curveball at me that I'm going to be like, that right, this elevates what they're doing. But what they do is very, very, very good. And it's right across here. Musicianship is just, as the musicianship coupled with the production is just excellent. And for all its techno sounds, it's not an album devoid of soul. The vocals give it that. The vocals in the synths give it a real grounded heart. I think it's a great album. I think it's going to shift units. It's going to elevate their status. Hopefully, I know they've already announced the tour where they omitted Scotland. There's no need for that, Electric Callboy. So I'm kind of hoping that tour extends out another couple of years and they swing back so we can go. If you get a chance to see these guys live, go and fucking see them. They're amazing live.
So good. Okay, final thing, scores for Tanzneid. Like it's fun, it's full energy. Like every track has like a hook or a riff that'll blow your wig off. It's no rocket science, but I had a good time. I'm going 4 out of 5. What about yourself?
I'm there with you. It's something about Hook, and that, as soon as you mentioned that, all I could think of was Dr. Hook and Captain Hook, and I hate myself for both. Don't know why.
No. The new Electric Callboy album out on August 7th on Century Media and Sony. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, have a little listen. There's tons of singles out if you want to check them out. Have a listen. Let us know what you think. That is it. That is the review. Thanks for checking out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Auf Wiedersehen.
I'm going to try and get Dave to wear the wig forever, but if it isn't in any other reviews, I failed. Bye.